Three, two, one. Hello and good evening. I hope you had your day pretty nice and good. The weather is pretty fine. It's been raining since the afternoon, and now the weather is pretty much cold. The wind is blowing outside, and hopefully you're enjoying the weather, and you are fit and fine by the grace of Almighty. I'm your host Hassan Prottoy, and you're watching the live session of TalentHut Online Language Club evening session. In this session, we're gonna continue from the previous article, which was all about private detectives operating in Bangladesh. We're gonna have some discussions regarding this, and for this, I would like to invite our esteemed member, Mr. Cage Ronok. So, Mr. Ronok, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you know that private detectives are operating in Bangladesh?
Yeah, I know a little, just nothing more.
So, what do you know about this? Can you share with us?
I just have some basic ideas. Uh, Maybe there are some detective agencies or investigation service center in Bangladesh, and actually I didn't know well about them. Or I didn't read the article. I'm sorry for that.
No, no, no.
So
It's okay.
I
It's
don't
okay.
have
I
a.
just asked you that if you know about it or not. There is just there are what do they say? An organization operating in what did they say? Private detective, private detective and surveillance activities. So they deal from extramarital affairs to corporate espionage, like they deal with the company secrets, and they can spy on people on your request.
স্যার আপনার মাইকটা ভালো শোনা যাচ্ছে না মানে কথা.
Mm, okay, okay. So can you hear it
Yes,
now?
yes,
Clearly now?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Okay,
yes.
okay. So I was just telling you that the private detectives, what kind of job they do. They spy on people on behalf of you. Sometimes they do surveillance work, and they also deal in company secrets, such as you are going to marry. Are you married, Mr. Ronald?
No, I'm
So
single.
suppose you are going to marry. So before marriage, I think both families inquire about each other, right? Like what is your background, and you also check. You will also check out the girl's background, the family background. So sometimes people hire private detectives for that to cross check if the husband or wife was previously married or not.
Yes,
Especially
yes.
in the Dhaka city where the propensity to deceive is increasing and the fraud cases is on the rise. So that's why people hire private detectives to check out. And also there is case of extramarital affairs. Do you know what that means?
Yes, I know a little that uh, there are some other services private detective do. Because from my point of view, I like to read detective books from my childhood, and I read so much about our national from our national writer or international writer, and I also read some famous books. So I just know the basic rules or basic idea about detective, private detectives. So that's it.
But there is a what do they say? A huge difference between the regular detectives and the pulp detective novels detective. Suppose we know from the
Yes,
Sherlock Holmes and Kiriti Roy Feluda or our very own
yes,
Masood Rana that spy or detectives they have
yes,
their own dress ups like Sherlock Holmes carries a pipe and a cap and a overcoat and the detective looks mysterious by the way, but in real life
yeah,
the detectives actually dress up like normal people do,
normal
and they
people.
have
Yes,
to blend in with the environment because if someone notices that they're being spied on, they will definitely get beaten. Suppose
yes, yes,
you are a detective. Suppose you are a detective and you are spying on some person who is involved in extramarital affairs. So if he notices you spying on him, so how do you think he will treat you? He will definitely beat you. So that's the risk and thrill.
I don't think that he will treat me so good. Even I can. gets harassment in public situations, or even
The spies have to be, what do they say? The spy or the private detectives, the
yes,
PIs, they have to be very careful about taking steps, and they have to blend in just like a background. So that's the case they have to work on. And
we are
they're,
talking about spy. So
yes,
how
yes.
do we know about spy? That spies mean it's secret. No one know what he does or what they does or they do. So spy means they have to be
Well,
do
there's a little bit
works.
difference between private detective and spy. Spy means nobody knows their identity except the agencies, and they work for the governments or any kind of organization. But private detectives, we know their, what do they say, their abouts. Suppose you can find their Facebook page, but spies don't have any Facebook page. Suppose James
Yes,
Bond,
yes,
master runners, they don't run any kind of Facebook pages.
yes.
So that's the thing I wanted to talk to you about, and there is an office in Uttara also. I'm planning to visit the, what do you say, private detective. I found it pretty interesting. I never met a detective before in real life actually. So I'm pretty much excited. As it's near to my office, I will definitely try to have a visit. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Rama, for sharing this conversation
Sir,
with you.
thank you, and I want to take a leave because
Definitely.
from now 8:20 I have a group study class,
Okay,
so
best
I have
wishes
to
for
leave.
that, and also say my regards. Say hello to Miss Sami, and I forgot the other person's name. She has been absent for a
Okay,
long time.
I think you can say to them because I already connected to them.
Okay, okay. So hi there,
You
Miss
can say hi.
Sami, and another person I forgot. What is her name?
Yeah, Miss Kona, Miss
Miss
Kona.
Kona. Yes, Miss Molecule. So Miss Kona has Rizia Kona has been absent for a long time. So I've nearly forgot the name. Anyway, hi there, and I hope that you will be back again with us soon. Okay, so best
Okay,
wishes
sir.
for your practice. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. Take care. Okay, so let's indulge in some vocabularies now. So extramarital affairs থেকে কর্পোরেট এসপিওনেজ পর্যন্ত বাংলাদেশে প্রাইভেট আই হচ্ছে একটা নিশ ক্লায়েন্টেল বিল্ড করেছে। এক্সট্রাম্যারিটাল অ্যাফেয়ার্স শব্দটার অর্থটা কি?
পরকীয়া
পরকীয়া, yes, absolutely correct. তারপর হচ্ছে এসপিওনাজ, what is the meaning of it?
চরবৃত্তি।
গুপ্তচর বৃত্তি।
গুপ্তচর
গুপ্তচর বৃত্তির যে
গোয়েন্দা
কাজটা আছে। নিশ শব্দটার অর্থ কি? NICH, নিশ।
উপযুক্ত নাই
উপযুক্ত বা প্রকৃত। ক্লায়েন্টেল,
মক্কেল
মক্কেল বৃন্দ।
মক্কেল।
ক্লায়েন্টের প্লুরাল ফর্ম হচ্ছে ক্লায়েন্টেল। ওকে, তারপর হচ্ছে আনবিনোনসড, আনবিনোনস টু হার দ্য ম্যান ইজ সিক্রেটলি
আনবিনস্ট
চিটিং,
মানে হচ্ছে
অজান্তে।
উম,
ওকে, তারপর হচ্ছে ওয়ার্ক প্লেস,
কাজের জায়গা,
কাজের জায়গা।
কর্মস্থল,
এক্সপ্যাট্রিয়েট,
কি স্যার
এক্সপ্যাট্রিয়েট, প্রবাসী,
প্রবাসী। স্নিকিং সাসপিশন,
গোপন সন্দেহ।
গোপন সন্দেহ। Yes, you got it correct. Okay, so now let's move on to our next participant, and I would like to call Miss Shamsuna Afroza for this one. So Miss Afroza, what have you prepared for?
Yes sir.
Discussion or presentation?
Sir, here is some net problem, sir. Uh,
Internet issues, but I can hear you loud and clear. So,
yes, sir. Now I can hear.
okay, okay. So, do you want to have a discussion or presentation? Which one do you prefer?
Obviously, discussion.
Okay, discussion. So, tell me, have you read this article? And did you know that before reading this article, that private detectives are working in Bangladesh?
No, sir. Actually, I didn't know. Read the article. Before read the article.
Before reading the article?
Before reading the article.
Okay, so what type of activities are they engaged in, the private detectives in Bangladesh? What sort of work they do? Do you know that?
Yes. Yes, sir. Sir, their activities is in Bangladesh. Um, now, day by day, their activities is increasing,
Why is that?
and they are interest in detective. They are interested in detective in the context of Bangladesh. Um, and when a spouse fall some problem with her spouse for a extramarital relationship, then they go for this agency, and they asked to help from the agency, and they they uh, they would help mm, they would help from the agency.
They would take help from the agencies. So tell me, we read about two different detectives and their place of works. Do you think the life of a private detective is thrilling, or do you think it is boring?
Sir, it seems to me it's like thrilling because it's a time-consuming and risky job because sometimes they fall in danger, and sometimes when they find out any information, any one person, then the people ask there uh, which information is do they then many situation is occurred here. Sometimes they get beaten the
By
people.
people, yes, obviously. So this is a risky job. So, what do you say? An hypothetical question I would like to ask you: would you like to be a detective if you are given a chance? Suppose.
Sir, well, sir, um, it's a it's a difficult question for me, but I like thrilling, and when I child, I was reading a lot of books of Tin Goenda, and I feel interested in some movie like that.
Okay, so
Uh,
finally, I would like to ask you that if you mentioned about Tinguenda. So, what was your most favorite character in Tinguenda? Who was you? Who was that?
Sir Feluda is my
No, no, no. Among Tinguenda, who was your most favorite character? Like there were three investigators, right? So, who was your most
Robin
favorite?
Musa. So Robin Musa, both are
Didn't you like Kishore
interesting.
Pasha? He was the leader and he was the smartest guy in the group. Musa was famous for his courage and what did they say? He's a great mechanic also. And Robin was, what did they say? A bookworm actually. He loved to read. I'm also a big fan of Thin Goenda, so I know all about that. So it's really nice to know someone that who read this book because nowadays people reading detective novels are pretty rare. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing this wonderful discussion with me. I really enjoyed talking with you, and take care of yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so now mystery একটা শব্দ আছে mystery মানে কি to get to the bottom of the mystery
রহস্যময় মনে হয়।
রহস্য রহস্যময় তো মিস্টেরিয়াস বাট মিস্ট্রি মানে হচ্ছে রহস্য
আমি
হ্যাঁ তারপর হচ্ছে রেসিডেন্সিয়াল বিল্ডিং
আবাসিক ভবন।
আবাসিক ভবন yes
আবার
absolutely correct তারপর হচ্ছে সিরিজ অফ ইভেন্টস সুলতান narrated the series of events এটা মানে ঠিক।
ধারাবাহিক ঘটনা।
হ্যাঁ, ঘটনা প্রবাহ বা ঘটনা প্রবাহকে ন্যারেট করলেন। ন্যারেট মানে কি?
বর্ণনা করা।
বর্ণনা করেছেন।
বর্ণনা করা।
ইয়েস। তারপর হচ্ছে রিমিউনারেশন। The client gives the private detective his remuneration in advance. পারিশ্রমিক। The sleuth earned টাকা 10,000 for the small project. Sleuth,
গোয়েন্দা।
গোয়েন্দা, yes. Reputation,
সুনাম।
সুনাম। তারপর হচ্ছে individual,
আলাদা।
ব্যক্তি, ব্যক্তি, 20 জন ব্যক্তি। তারপর হচ্ছে সুলতান has handled 8 cases. এই লাইনটা মানে কি? In the last 2 years.
আটটি
আটটা
কেস
কেস আর কি হ্যান্ডেল সামলাইছে।
সামলেছে, yes, সামলানো, এটা হচ্ছে হ্যান্ডেল করা। ওকে, অন এভারেজ, এভারেজ মানে কি?
গড়ে।
গড়ে। তারপর হচ্ছে ক্রস চেক, সামটাইমস হি হ্যাজ টু ক্রস চেক whether
খতিয়ে দেখা।
খতিয়ে দেখা।
তারপর হচ্ছে ভাইস ভার্সা, উল্টোটা। সাপোজ আমি একটা লাইন বললাম, ভাইস ভার্সা মানে এর উল্টোটাও ঘটে, বিপরীতটাও ঘটে। ওকে, so let's move on to our next participant, and I would like to call Parveen Akhtar ma'am for the next one. So ma'am, would you like to engage in discussion or do you want to present this topic?
Today my participation is to conversation.
Okay, that's really wonderful. So let us discuss about this topic. So did you ever read any kind of detective novel?
Yes, in my early age I read several books on Goenda, Tin Goenda and Feluda, and I liked it most.
There were also Sherlock Holmes, Kiriti Roy, Kakababu. They were all the greatest detectives in the history.
Yes.
And there were
And
also
recently
Hercule Poirot.
I like to watch a TV show which name is CID. I
They are actually investigators and crime investigators. Private
Yes.
detectives are a little bit, what do they say, different stuff. The private detectives cannot indulge in state affairs or drug or narcotic related cases. But yes, CID is a legend. I think I have enjoyed the CID episodes, and I think most of the people in our time did. So it's really nice. Okay, so tell me, before reading this article, did you know that the private detectives are operating in Bangladesh?
To be honest, I didn't read any article about a private detective.
So,
But I knew about them on TV programs and from novels and books.
only. So, after reading this article, do you know that what kind of cases they deal with? What sort of cases?
They need to solve many kinds of cases like narcotic cases, trafficking cases, and
No, no, no. The private
killing.
detectives. I was just talking about private detectives. They don't deal on narcotic or drug related cases. They also don't take murder cases because that's the law enforcement agency's job. So, as I asked you, what type of cases the private detectives handle?
Oh, uh, uh, especially they solve private uh, private problems such as anybody missing, then they try to find out and
Locate that person.
some yes.
If some valuable is lost, they investigate about this kind of thing. Like your purse
To
got
find
stolen,
thief.
or your car got stolen, or you lost something valuable thing. So they investigate on this, right?
Yes.
Also, they dealing, what did they say? Cross-checking the background history of bride and groom, right? And that's an interesting thing that I have read in this article. They cross-check these stuffs.
Sir, I like to say something about you uh, with your permission.
Yeah, definitely, you can.
Sometimes I find you as a detective.
Well, I'm just an avid listener. So, what makes you think like that? Why do you think I'm kind of a detective?
Because your listening power is very clear, and you, although you didn't see us, but you know everything about us, and your query is about our query. You can explain everything very clearly.
Well, it's
That's it.
kind of a knack. I'm pretty much good at empathy, right? And I have developed this skill by just listening because I cannot see you, but I can hear you. I can analyze the noises and the sounds coming from your end. So by these, I can get an accurate picture. If you know about the character Daredevil, he was a blind guy, but he used to hear all the sounds and he used to predict where people are, and where all the objects are. So that's a skill I developed during
Yes,
the quarantine time, especially in the pandemic when I had nothing to do. But it's a skill you can also develop by listening. Okay.
yes.
So another
We are
fun thing is that,
we are impressed uh, to know about you, and we try to follow you.
okay, that's really inspiring for me also. I just think that I am just like a guide. I have this job to, what do they say, to help you walk on this path of English. And in this case, I think, and we have a, what do they say, uncanny similarity with the detectives. A detective's task is to find out the truth, and that's why I think the Bomkesh Boxi, the great Bomkesh Boxi, was he mentioned that a detective is like a Shottanneshi. That means the seeker of truth. Do you agree with that? A detective, is he a seeker of truth?
Uh, yes, always a detective try to solve the problems to investigate, and with evidence, and interrogating who see the incident, and sometimes they need to talk with maid,
Yes,
woman,
they
and
use them as an information channel, and that's what I also
street
found interesting.
unseen.
Street urchins, yes, the street children, basically. So, do you think due to the rise of fraud cases in Bangladesh, the, what is the importance of private detectives is increasing?
I think it will be increased in future because our uh, government detectives are involved with crimes related cases, uh, but other cases is not solved, don't solve by them. That is
Okay,
the reason I think private detective profession is increased in future.
in future, definitely. Okay, so before finishing, I would like to ask you just a casual question. Is there any kid in your home, a little child, baby, or is there a cat?
Uh, yes, sir. I have a daughter who read in class 8, and one nephew is my home. He is in
Yes,
class 3, and another niece is recently she passed SSC, and
but
she
I can
will
hear
go to.
little babies crying. I think it's a cat. I think you have a cat in your home.
No, sir, I have no cat.
So where is the little baby noises coming from? Someone is crying like a baby. or there is a cat meowing
Oh,
out from
sorry.
outside?
I can hear just now. This cat sound is coming from outside.
Okay. So there is a hungry cat just lurking for food. And do you know that it's very hard to differentiate between a little child or a cat? So they actually sound the same. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you for engaging in a conversation with me, and it was really nice talking about private detectives and such. Okay. So, oh, I forgot to ask one more thing. You said that you read private detective novels, right?
Yes, sir.
So who's your most favorite character in private detective novels?
Uh, as I read Tin Goenda mostly, for this moment, I can remember Kishore Pasha
Kishore
was
Pasha,
my favorite.
yes. The Kishore Pasha from Pasha Salvasier. But I was a big fan of what did they say, Musa Aman, as especially in the volume 2 or 3 in Vishon Oromne. He did amazing stuffs in the
I
Amazon
think Kishore
rainforest.
Pasha was the main hero on
Actually,
this
he
novel.
was the brain, and the Musaman was the muscle, and the information source was Robin Milford, as his father was a journalist, I think. I miss those days. Actually, these were the what did they say most adventurous thing I ever read. And after that, I met Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes was pretty boring, but Kaka Babu, Pomkesh books, they were also pretty serious. But anyway, thank you for sharing this one, and wishing you a nice time. Take care.
Thank you, sir. I feel better to talk with you.
Okay, it's my pleasure actually. You sound always cheerful, and that's also what inspires me, encourages me to do the same. Okay, so now
Thank you,
let's
sir.
move on to the vocabularies. দেখি vocabulary list আর কি কি আছে. Okay, the deal did not pan out ultimately. এই pan out শব্দটা মানে কি? Pan out এটার একটা সিনোনিম বলেছিলাম.
কেন
ওয়ার্কআউট মানে কাজ করে নাই,
ওয়ার্কআউট
দিনটা শেষ
মনে হয়
পর্যন্ত
নাকি?
হচ্ছে কাজ হয়নি. তারপর হচ্ছে রেলাই, কারণ হচ্ছে ব্যাংক অফিসিয়াল বা কর্মকর্তারা তার উপর রেলাই করতে পারেনি. রেলাই মানে কি? RELY,
ভরসা করা।
ভরসা করা. তারপর হচ্ছে কারণ তিনি ওই সময়টাতে ওই প্রফেশনে একজন নিউবি ছিলেন. নিউবি কি জিনিস?
নবাগত।
নতুন লোক বা নবাগত ছিলেন. কোম্পানিগুলো যে কাজটা জানতে চায় সেটা হচ্ছে তাদের বিজনেস রাইভালের ট্রেড সিক্রেট, ব্যবসায়িক গোপনীয় তথ্য. বিজনেস রাইভাল মানে কি?
ব্যবসায়িক
ব্যবসায়িক
প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বী।
প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বী.
হ্যাঁ, ব্যবসায়ী।
তারপর হচ্ছে অ্যাবসলিউট সিক্রেসি, এটা মেনটেন করতে হয় কোম্পানি সিক্রেটস নিয়ে কাজ করার সময়.
কঠোর গোপনীয়তা।
কঠোর গোপনীয়তা. ওকে, টাইম কনজিউমিং, এটা মানে
সময় ক্ষেপণকারী।
সময় ক্ষেপণকারী, এবং এই কারণে প্রচুর পেশেন্স প্রয়োজন হয়. পেশেন্স মানে কি? ধৈর্য প্রয়োজন হয়. এবং সুলতান বা প্রাইভেট ডিটেকটিভরা হচ্ছে মার্ডার এবং নার্কোটিক রিলেটেড কেসে কাজ করে. এখন হচ্ছে নার্কোটিক্স, এটা কি ধরনের কেস, কি জিনিস? নার্কোটিক রিলেটেড কেস, এগুলো কি ধরনের কেস?
মাদক।
মাদক, ড্রাগ রিলেটেড কেস
মাদক
যেগুলো
নিয়ে।
আছে. হ্যাঁ. ইনভেস্টিগেশন মানে কি?
তদন্ত।
তদন্ত
তদন্ত.
করে।
Yes, absolutely correct. Now let's move on to our next participant, Mary ma'am. আজকে চুপচাপ, ব্যাপার কি বলেন? Oh, that's why you are a little bit what is this, silent regarding this. So hopefully you'll be fine soon, ma'am.
Yes,
Take care
sir.
of yourself, take care of your health, because
Yes.
the time and weather is changing pretty fast. Okay. So ma'am,
Yes.
tell me, what do you want to do today? Presentation or discussion? Which one would you prefer? Conversation would be preferable for you. So tell me,
Yes, sir.
how do you think a private detective's life is? Is it boring or a thrilling one?
It
Is the
is
job
not
boring?
boring, thrilling, and very interesting job.
Okay, why do you think like that? That it's an interesting job?
Yes.
Okay, why? Why?
Yes, sir. Because they work
um, very secretly, and their job is very different types, because they don't told about, they don't tell about their himself, and every work have to do secretly.
Yes, that's the
And
thrill. You have to follow somebody and find out
yes,
the truth about him or her, and that's the interesting case. And do you think it's
yes,
a
sir.
risky one also?
Yes, sir, it is very risky because sometimes they work very secretly, and information, more information collect, কালেক্ট
Okay,
করতে বিভিন্ন জায়গায় যাইতে হয় আর কি,
okay.
এটা
They have
কিন্তু
to they have to
many
go to many places for informations.
places, হ্যাঁ, collecting information, so it is very risk.
Okay, it's very risky in your opinion. So, ma'am, tell
Risk.
me about information. I might want to know that. Do you know that how the private detectives collect informations? I mean, what is their information source?
Mm, sometimes they spy on people for money, and sometimes they collect information, uh, verifying people's background and statements,
No, no, no.
finding.
The source of their information. Suppose in one point it has been mentioned in the article that they collect informations from the what do they say by following the person, and another source is they collect information from the housemaid, caretakers, etc. So they collect
Yes, sir.
information from them. And there is another source mentioned here that Sherlock Holmes used to collect informations from street urchins, which was a group of street children, and as they can go anywhere and hear everything, they had that privilege. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So finally, if you are given a chance, do you think you can work as a private detective? Would you choose private detective as a job?
No, sir.
Why is
No,
that?
sir, because
You said that
I
it's a
don't
thrilling
have
job.
any idea. But thrilling job, of course, but I don't like to women do this job because it is very risky and very hard job, sir.
Okay, okay. So thank you for sharing this discussion with me, and I wish that you will get well soon and come back to us strongly as ever.
And sir,
Yes, yes.
one more thing I want to tell. Every information is private, and the private detective has to do every information uh, মানে রাখতে হয়, গোপন রাখতে হয়, they
They have to
have to.
maintain absolute secrecy. Article line table দিলাম।
Yes, হ্যাঁ, it is uh, women's for very tough.
Okay, so you have mentioned that যে মেয়েরা প্রাইভেট ডিটেকটিভ হতে পারবে না কারণ তারা ইনফরমেশন গোপন রাখতে পারে না। So
হ্যাঁ,
পারমিট ম্যাম এবং আফরোজা ম্যাম
I
আপনাকে এটার
think
সাথে একমত? Do you agree with that?
No, no,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
We don't agree.
So it was a really nice thing to say about this. Okay, so thank you, ma'am, for sharing this one. Actually, it's really difficult because sometimes people have to gossip, man and woman both, I think, and private detectives they have to maintain a life of secrecy. They don't share their case
yes.
details to their homes and everything. So thank you for sharing such a wonderful and humorous thing. So take care of yourself and get well soon.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So now স্ট্রিট আর্চিন শব্দটা অর্থ কি যদিও মনে হয় কনভারসেশনে বলেই দিয়েছি বলেন দেখি স্ট্রিট আর্চিন এরা কারা পথ
পথ
শিশুরা
শিশু।
পথ শিশু।
ইয়েস তারপর হচ্ছে হাউস মেইড
গৃহকর্মী।
মানে গৃহকর্মী।
গৃহকর্মী। তারপর হচ্ছে they assist him all the time in his cases. Assist মানে কি?
সাহায্য করা।
সাহায্য
সাহায্য
করা।
করা, yes. তারপর হচ্ছে in a story where life imitates art. Imitate মানে কি?
অনুকরণ করা।
অনুকরণ করা।
অনুকরণ করা। Element of risk. Yet there is an element of risk in this profession as well.
মানে এটা হচ্ছে
ঝুঁকির ব্যাপার আছে এখানে।
রিস্কের বাংলায় এখন ভুলে গেছি।
ঝুঁকি ঝুঁকি আমরা রিস্ক আস্তে আস্তে কিন্তু বাংলাটা ভুলে যাবো খুব স্বাভাবিক। এটা ব্যবহার করা হয় না তো, ব্যবহার না করতে করতে গায়েব হয়ে যাচ্ছে আস্তে আস্তে। ইনকোয়ার মানে কি? ইনকোয়ার করা, যে কারো সম্পর্কে ইনকোয়ার করা।
মানে জিজ্ঞাসাবাদ করা, খোঁজ
খোঁজ
নেওয়া,
খবর না, জিজ্ঞাসাবাদ আরেকটা জিনিস, এটা ইন্টারোগেট।
খোঁজ খবর নেওয়া।
ইনকোয়ার, খোঁজ খবর নেওয়া। তারপর যে শব্দটা আছে সেটা হচ্ছে জার্নালিজম। হোয়াট ইজ দ্য মিনিং অফ ইট?
সরি স্যার,
জার্নালিজম,
সাংবাদিকতা।
সাংবাদিকতা। এবং ওই সাংবাদিক যিনি প্রাইভেট ডিটেকটিভ হয়েছেন তিনি টিম ডেপ্লয় করেন যারা মনিটরিং করে থাকে। সার্ভেইলেন্স আর মনিটরিং এর অর্থটা একই ধরনের। কি জিনিস?
নজরদারি।
নজরদারি করা। আর টিম ডেপ্লয় করা, ডেপ্লয় মানে কি?
মোতায়েন করা।
মোতায়েন করা, yes. Okay. Okay, so now finally I'd like to get to Mr. Abdullah Mamun. So Mr. Mamun,
জি স্যার।
would you like to present or do you like to discuss about this topic?
I would like to presentation because I haven't.
Finally a presentation. I like to hear that. So okay, let's hear it. Let's see what you have to present.
Okay. Okay, good morning, good evening, everybody. And at first, take my salam, assalamu alaikum. And first of all, I want to thank for my teacher and give a chance this opportunity in this presentation. So I want to talk about this private detective life in Bangladesh. So I want to understand this dangerous, this private detective person, this life in Bangladesh. So for this, I want to talk a story. That means my village story. So my hometown is nearby India. That means Darshana. So most of the people are included this drug addict business. So sometimes I was, especially when I was small, that time I have watched so many incident. That incident is a very heart-touching incident. So sometimes I follow. So who are the person are addicted, this drug addicted, and included this drug business. So sometimes they collected this drug, especially fentanyl. The fentanyl all time the India supplied in Bangladesh, especially I think most of the fentanyl has come in this Darshana side. That means my hometown sites. So I think so most of the person are included this drug addicted. So sometime I follow the one man when this businessman collected this drug. So sometimes some people are informed this police. Some people are informed this police. So I think the private detectives and informer as like a one side parts as like. So when this police suddenly has come and this arrested them, they are shocked. And when they are released this prison, they are decided. When I see that person who they inform this police, so I kill them or uh, I kill them. I kill them, so or I hit them. So it is very dangerous. So I think this private detectives lives in Bangladesh, who are the person every time lead their life, is dangerous situation, and it is a very dangerous job. It is a very dangerous job. Anyone can me the opportunity, this chance, this do this job. So I will agree. I think I will agree because all time I want to I want to get a challenging system. Uh, that means this type of job. I agree because when I got a chance in this Islamic University in say, Kustia. That time I live in that first time when I was a first first year. I live in that area. There are most of the person are related in this others community. That means Chhatra Shibir. So one day this a police has come and told the one day you have to go in your house because today I think declare this Rai declare this Khaleda Zia or Khaleda Zia. So obviously you have to go this time. So that day I went to I don't went I don't go to house and I stay there. So that time everybody don't stay this my mess. So everybody went to a field side. This is Paner Boros. One day I stayed there. So I think I love this type of also detective things. So I want to talk other things. Most of the journalists are one side their job this as like a private detectives, but journalism all time they are do this all sides category job, but especially private detectives job they are I think they are do this job especially two categories that means extramarital categories and say narcotics related categories private their people are do these jobs. So it is a very dangerous extramarital are day by day increasing in my society village type and this Dhaka city almost in Bangladesh because day by day are increasing who are most of the person went to going to this abroad for working and other things. So most of the person are married, and some person when going there foreign abroad, and after marriage, and they are come back and they marriage in Bangladesh, and again going there this abroad for working. So this, I think, most it is a very dangerous and instead in Bangladesh, the woman without any relationship because it is a very it is a very very yeah, hard situation. They stay in this year without say any relation. So most of the foreigner wives related in this extramarital affairs related in the extramarital affairs. Actually, it is not a just only wives, just some husband related this about this. So I think it is a very it is a very very essential for us the detective. So sometimes we can see, but other time, previous time, I don't know when I have read this article. First of all, I have know from you. I have learned from you. So thank you for sir for this. The previous time I don't know that there are have private detective organization in Bangladesh. So first of all, I have know from you, and I think it is a very essential day by day increasing this things. Actually, I don't know the government give this others পারিশ্রমিক ইংরেজি কি জানো others কোনো
Remuneration or salary or pay.
remuneration. So I think that's a government help them and not only help, just government will be sure that their security ensure their security. Say it is a very helpful for them. So thank you everyone, and thanks for hearing this my presentation. Thank you, sir.
Okay, that's really wonderful, Mr. Mamun. যথেষ্ট দারুণ হয়েছে। যাক, ভালো প্রিপারেশন নিয়েছিলেন। That's really wonderful.
প্রিপারেশনই নেইনি আমি,
কি
কে
বলেন?
বলছে
প্রিপারেশন না
প্রিপারেশন
নিলে যে
হয়েছে?
অবস্থা হয়, প্রিপারেশন নিলে কি অবস্থা?
আমি জানি না। আমি স্যার বিশেষ করে আপনার জন্য ওয়েটিং
স্যার
ছিলাম,
10
আপনি আমি
আমার
মনে
মনে
করি
হয়
আপনি
10
দিবেন।
বলেছে।
হ্যাঁ, এবং একটা জিনিস কি, আমি
আমি
10 মিনিট
ছিলাম যে
থেকে বলেছি স্পিচ ব্যারিয়ার, এটা ব্রেক করতে চাচ্ছি। হ্যাঁ মিস্টার মামুন বলুন।
আমি I was waiting for you. I think last class I have understand that you will send a article and we have read that article. But when I am waiting and waiting, after that I have uh, just maybe 10 minutes ago I have heard. I have know the
It rotates
this
actually.
is my
We
half
read an
article.
article and later, the later session we have discussions or presentations regarding this. It will go round, right? But I have missed, I think, due to my mistake, I have forgotten to mention the next day topic. I think that's why the misunderstood standing created actually. Anyway, but you did a great stuff explaining this thing. Especially you mentioned about the part that a crime detective, crime reporter's job is a part like a part of a detective's work also. এবং আই থিঙ্ক দ্যাটস হোয়াট হ্যাপেন্ড উইথ পরবর্তী যিনি ছিলেন, যিনি ক্রাইম ডিটেকটিভ থেকে ক্রাইম রিপোর্টার থেকে ডিটেকটিভ হয়েছেন, তো তার ক্ষেত্রে সেম, ওনার কাজটাই ছিল অনুসন্ধানী, সো তিনি ওনার সাথে কাজটা মিলে যায় প্রাইভেট ডিটেকটিভ। সো দ্যাট ওয়াজ রিয়েলি গুড। আর 10 মিনিটের স্পিচ বেরিয়ে ব্রেক করেছেন এবং আপনার ফ্লুয়েন্সিতে কোনো সমস্যা নাই, এটা শুনে মনে হলো। এখন যেটা নিয়ে কাজ করতে হবে সেটা হচ্ছে গ্রামাটিক্যাল ইস্যুগুলো নিয়ে। আপনি আপনার যে প্রেজেন্টেশনটা দিয়েছেন সেটা আবার শুনবেন, ইউটিউবে রয়ে গেছে, সো শুনে গ্রামাটিক্যাল মিস্টেক গুলো ফাইন্ড আউট করবেন, সেগুলো নিয়ে কাজ করবেন। এখন হচ্ছে আপনার কাজ অ্যাকুরেসি নিয়ে কাজ করা। So that's really good. Thank you for your upgradation, and hopefully you will join us regularly and practice and continue forward. Okay,
Thank
so
you, sir.
now let's move on to some final vocabularies that we have. So বলা হয়েছিল যে কোনো ডিটেকটিভ ফিকশন অ্যাফিশিওনাডোই জানেন গুড ওয়ার্ড অফ মাউথ ইজ এসেনশিয়াল ফর ডিটেকটিভ এজেন্সিস। সো অ্যাফিশিওনাডো এটার মানেটা কি?
ভক্ত।
ভক্ত বা অনুরাগী। ওকে, তারপর হচ্ছে ওয়ার্ড অফ মাউথ মানে কি?
মুখের কথা।
মুখের কথা, মুখের কথাটা খুব জরুরি। ওকে ওকে, তারপর হচ্ছে রিয়েল লাইফ অর ফিকশাস?
ফিকশাস হচ্ছে কাল্পনিক।
কাল্পনিক,
কাল্পনিক। বানানো গল্প। ওকে, কাল্পনিকটা বেশ বেটার হবে আর কি। যাক, তারপর হচ্ছে যে শব্দটা আছে সেটা হচ্ছে প্রফিটেবলি রান দ্য বিজনেস এমপ্লয়িং অল অফ देम ফুল টাইম। সো প্রফিটেবলি মানে কি আর এমপ্লয় মানে কি?
এমপ্লয় মানে কর্মী, আর
এমপ্লয় মানে হচ্ছে নিয়োগ দেওয়া, এমপ্লয়ি ডবল ই, তখন এটা কর্মী। এই এম পি এল ও ওয়াই এটা মানে নিয়োগ দেওয়া। এমপ্লয়ার মানে নিয়োগকর্তা, এমপ্লয়ি মানে হচ্ছে কর্মী, আর এমপ্লয় শব্দটা হচ্ছে একটা ভার্ব যার মানে হচ্ছে নিয়োগ দেওয়া, আর প্রফিটেবলি হচ্ছে লাভজনক ভাবে। ওকে, তারপর হচ্ছে অ্যাসোসিয়েশন, নো ওয়ার্কার্স অ্যাসোসিয়েশন অর এনিথিং সিমিলার, অ্যাসোসিয়েশন সংস্থা। গাইডলাইন মানে কি?
মানে
গাইডলাইন পথ দেখানোর আর কি,
নির্দেশনা। ওই যে আমাদের এটা প্যান্ডেল শুনতে শুনতে অভ্যস্ত হয়ে গেছে, গাইডলাইন দিয়ে দিচ্ছি, নির্দেশনা। নির্দেশনা, ইয়েস। Okay, propensity to deceive. Finally, people's propensity to deceive has increased. Propensity মানে কি আর deceive মানে কি?
ডিসিভ
কথা না, propensity একটা ঝোঁকি নিয়ে আর কি, ধোঁকা দেওয়ার ধরনের আর কি।
Propensity to deceive মানে হচ্ছে ধোঁকা দেওয়ার প্রবণতা, ঠিক আছে?
হ্যাঁ, ধোঁকা দেওয়ার
propensity মানে প্রবণতা, আর হচ্ছে deceive মানে হচ্ছে ধোঁকা, এই হচ্ছে ব্যাপার। যাক, okay. So that's all for tonight. Our next thing